Hello, hello, and welcome to today's live. We are going to be talking about how to grow your coaching business without social media. So, as of 2024, there were over 80,000 business coaching businesses in the United States. But let's be real, not everyone who calls himself a coach is actually successful as a coach. And I know you have been stressing about how everyone's a coach, not everybody's qualified, and you've really gotten caught up in the stress of worrying about things being saturated. But what I need you to actually focus on this year, if you're really serious about your goals, is what does being successful as a coach mean to you, and really defining that for yourself, not defining that based off of what everybody else is making and posting online about, I made $10,000 this year, I hit six figures. What does success look like for you? Why did you decide to become a coach, start your coaching business? Regardless of the industry you're in, whether you're a life coach, business coach, health coach, there are a lot of different kind of coaches. What does it look like for you to feel like your business is successful? Not only what does it feel like for you to have a successful coaching business, but what does that also look like tangibly in terms of the income that you want to make? So I want you to be able to sit down and define what success looks like for you from an impact goal standpoint and an income goal standpoint. And I want you to get really crystal clear. And if it's not clear, that's your first assignment for this time that we're here today, is for you to write down your impact goal and your income goal for this year in terms of your coaching business. Now, one of the reasons why the 80,000 folks who have a coaching business as of 2024 were not all successful is because one, were not clear on what success looked like for them. They were just chasing what everybody else was saying that their next big goal was. But then also, they didn't have a strategy to support their success goal. And we're going to change that for you. So let's talk about how to grow your coaching business in 2025, even without having social media. So it is not necessary for you to have social media for you to be able to grow your business. In fact, there's a platform that is much more lucrative that I want to implore you to focus on in terms of your energy this year. And of course, that platform is podcasting. Y'all know how big of a fan I am of podcasting. I've had my podcast for 4 years. I love it. And I just encourage every single person who has a coaching business to start a podcast. So when we talk about podcasting, one of the reasons why I'm a big proponent of it is because it's highly searchable. What does that mean? That means that when people are on Google looking for solutions to what they're struggling with, your podcast episodes can come up as resources to help them, right? So let me give you an example of that. Let's say that you are a health coach and you help people transition from eating meat to eating plant-based foods. Okay. Um, and so you're like, okay, cool. This is what I focus on. And so your podcast episodes are really breaking down that process. And so maybe the one big question that people have is, how do I get started? And so you create an episode called How to Get Started Transitioning into Plant-Based Living. Boom. And so because your potential clients are online searching for things around plant-based living, and specifically that's a question that you've gotten over and over and over again from people who are current clients, who are prospective clients, you have labeled your episode based off of actual questions that you're getting as a successful coach. And when people are searching that question, your podcast episode is popping up as a resource, right? So that's one of the reasons why I'm a big proponent of podcasting as a way to market your coaching business, is because it's highly searchable content. Now, you can see I'm here on YouTube with you to here today. And so I would also encourage you, if you were serious about growing your coaching business, is to get on video, get comfortable getting in front of the camera, sharing your story, sharing your message, and sharing your strategies for helping your clients. And the reason why YouTube is also amazing for reposting your podcast video is that it is the second largest search engine in the world right after Google. Boom. If that's not enough reason, I don't know what is. And so you'll notice that I didn't say start your podcast on YouTube. I said repost your podcast video onto YouTube, because there's this misconception that just because I have a video and I have the podcast mics and I got the nice lighting, that this is a podcast. When in fact, it is really important that your podcast is actually on a podcast platform. And therefore, it is that makes it a podcast, not the fact that you have the podcast mic, the lighting, and the special, the music, the intro. There's actually a strategy here in terms of making sure that you have certain things checked off to make sure that's actually a podcast. And if you have questions about, well, how do I get it set up on like Spotify and Apple Podcasts? Like, how do you even get your podcast on those platforms? I want to invite you to click the link below, because I have a workshop coming up called Plan Your Podcast Workshop, where I'm going to walk you through all the basics around what does it take to get your podcast set up and make sure it's successful. So that's a resource available to you if you're like, I don't even know how to officially make a podcast. Don't worry, I got you covered. But yeah, it's really helpful to be able to, I think of it as boosting your podcast content by hosting the video on, YouTube. Because YouTube is not, again, it's not social media, it's actually a search engine, which is why it's such a valuable tool for marketing and promoting your business. And if you did not catch the big secret that I like unveiled to you just like 2 minutes before, the secret to actually creating podcast episodes that people listen to, discover, find, growing your podcast, the secret to growing your podcast is making sure that each episode answers a question that people are actually asking you. Yeah. People ask all the time, well, how do I know to talk about my podcast? I have so many ideas. That's good. It's good to have ideas, but data helps you make decisions. And so when you've been running your business for, a while, and you've worked with clients and you've gotten results, but even if you've just had like discovery calls, I want you to begin like on those discovery calls, during those coaching sessions, get your notebook out, use AI if you need to, and, gather the summaries of like, what questions are people asking me? And you're going to start to see a pattern of the types of questions that you're asking, the topics that people are asking you questions about when it comes to your industry and your expertise. And that is literally going to be the bulk of your podcast content. Because again, the goal is that you create content that people are actually searching for, so that you boost your ability to be found. Because the reason why we are utilizing podcasting to grow your business is for visibility. We want more people to know about how amazing you are, the results that you get, the fact that you're an expert in your industry, and the fact that you are a credible coach. And so in order to be found, we want to make sure that we're putting out things people are actually looking for. All right, cool. So the next thing is when you put out questions that are, people are searching for, you're actually creating evergreen content. Because again, as I've mentioned, there are questions that people just ask me over and over again about podcasting. I've helped over 60 people start and launch their podcast through my workshops, my programs. And the question that, the questions are so similar every single time. And I'm pretty sure you have that same feeling where you're like, I've answered this question 30,000 times. Which I think is, if I'm honest, I think that's why sometimes social media can feel overstimulating for us, as experts in our industries, because people like want that direct access for like really simple questions. And they want that free pick your brain session through the DMs. And fine and dandy. There is a space there. It serves a need when you use it strategically. And the way that I have used it in the past is as a way of market research, right? Because again, every time somebody asks me a question, I'm like, okay, cool. This is going in the bucket of questions. And then when you lay them all out, you begin to realize, again, there are themes, there are topics that are just popular that people ask about. And the goal is that you're able to take all of those things and put them into podcast episodes. And now, if you choose to still reside on social media, I promise you it'll be a lot less overstimulating and stressful, because when people ask you a question, you already got a podcast episode for that. And you're just like, hey, I talk about that in episode 37 of my podcast. Here, take a listen. And again, you're probably not even going to be annoyed with the questions because you're like, oh, that's a great podcast episode. I'm going to go record that. And now I have that as part of my evergreen library to, again, reiterate the fact that I'm an expert because I already have content talking about this. So that's just a big picture thing to think about. And again, that's how you create evergreen content, by utilizing what questions are people actually asking you. Now, let's talk about why video is an important part of podcasting. While yes, it is very true, you can have a podcast that's all audio, but video is an incredible part of being able to build and grow your brand, because it helps you to be able to build trust, right? Which is essential when it comes to coaching services that are high ticket. And so if you are experienced in your industry, you've gotten a certain amount of success, you're probably looking at the fact of like, okay, a lot of people are coming to me and I don't have capacity for this one-to-one, or this model that I'm currently using is causing a lot of friction and stress. And you're now in that place where you have redone your numbers and you have reworked your offer, and now it's high ticket. And so, one, kudos to you. I'm proud of you. I celebrate you. I have also transitioned to the high ticket coaching space, and it is top tier. Okay, top tier. And so I want to tell you that part of you being able to establish trust with your audience to where they're able, and not able, but willing, they're willing to pay you for that high ticket, is trust. Trust is the currency, okay? And video helps with that. When you can see and feel someone's energy and presence from video, you build trust that way. And so when you think about the business model that you have, you want to make sure that the marketing approach that you're taking matches your goals, again, the business model and all the things. So today we've talked about how to grow your coaching business without social media. And if you choose to stay in the social media space, like we talked about how do you like manage your energy in that way and make sure it's not stressful and overwhelming. But also how do you, have a more scalable approach to your marketing where you're able to reach more people, serve more people. And so if you are like, oh my gosh, this is super helpful, and this is the year I want to start a podcast, I want to again extend the invitation for you to join me for my Plan Your Podcast workshop, where I'm going to walk you through my framework for launching a podcast that allows you to be able to grow a coaching business that's going to allow you to be able to attract ideal clients who are excited and willing to pay you high ticket. I want to invite you to join for that. And so down below, you'll find the link for you to be able to register, secure your spot. There are 2 ticket options. And so you'll be able to choose which one works best for you. But I can't wait to hang out with you in the workshop. Those spaces are my favorite because while I love these lives, mainly because I don't have to edit the videos, but while I love them, I love the workshops because I get to really like hear you guys' stories and learn more about your business, which I find extremely exciting. And you'll find that I have a very high touch workshop style where I love to do a little hot seat coaching and just give you some spot on advice in the moment. So can't wait for you guys to join me for that. Again, the link is below. And until next time, thanks so much for hanging out. These lives are incredibly fun for me, and I can't wait for our next chat together. And down below, I want you to drop questions you have about podcasting. And yeah, because I'd love to answer them in these videos. So until next time, bye. Classic millennial.